When you're fighting monsters, it's really nice to have a big brother by your side. The friendship between India and Russia is not of today, but from the past itself. Eventually seeing India growing close to the USSR, the US decided to go forward with its alliance with China. Though US had fought the Chinese in the Korean soil, yet Kissinger went to shake the hands of Zhou Enlai on the 9th of July 1971. On the 9th of August 1971, India signed the 20 years Allied Treaty with the USSR. On paper, it was regarding world peace and security, the complete abolition of the caste system and colonialism, and the reduced use of nuclear weapons. But it was mostly to counter Pakistan and its biggest ally, America and China. The Prime Minister of India, Mrs. Gandhi, was often neglected by the President of the United States. Also, it was reported that Pakistani government officials often met Chinese officials at Beijing, flying from Islamabad to Beijing and back. Also, American officials were hugely involved with Pakistani officials in maintaining their diplomacy with India alongside aiding Pakistan in this unforgiving genocide in Bangladesh. Yes, Pakistan relied on Chinese and American weapons for this war and for this genocide. India was very much aware of this. Hence, when India declared war against Pakistan on the 3rd of December 1971, India also sent troops to the Arunachal Pradesh and Sikkim to hold off any possible Chinese invasion on that area. Now with the war raging on the 4th of December, the UN Security Council sat together. The USSR and Poland said to the United Security Council to allow the Bangladeshi representatives to have their own say in this, but they were neglected. Abu Said Chaudhry was the only representative from the provisional government of Bangladesh. He was mocked by US and China, who instead asked India to move troops from East Pakistan. In the UN Security Council, there were votes presented, and the USSR used its veto to support India in continuing this fight against Pakistan in Bangladesh. In the UN Security Council, day after day, discussions were happening, and the USSR was using veto after veto to support India in the continuation of this war. Meanwhile, Pakistan, China, and the US was continually asking India to move troops and to stop its aggression on East Pakistan. India was fighting a rightful war to liberate Bangladesh alongside the Mukti Bahini. The world knew it. America knew it. Yet they supported Pakistan, and the US was up to something under its sleeve. The US decided to send the USS Enterprise to strike Indian forces in East Pakistan if needed. This task force has set out from Taskin Bay from the Yankee station and had moved up to Singapore. Slowly, they entered the Bay of Bengal. Meanwhile, they didn't know what India's biggest ally, the USSR, was up to. The USSR had sent the 10th Operational Battle Group from Vladivostok itself. It was a Soviet naval formation, mostly comprising of submarines. These submarines had entered the Bay of Bengal, and by the time the USS Enterprise had closed in, just one submarine had moved up to the surface of the water. It was spotted by this American task force, and they decided to move back. And the Soviet naval formation decided to follow the moving away Task Force 74. It didn't engage or didn't do anything, but it was just following till this task force moved away to a safer distance. Meanwhile, talks after talks, voting after voting was going on in the UN Security Council. The Soviet Union was again using its veto to support India, and Indian forces were moving in all directions inside East Pakistan and crushing the Pakistani military. On the 9th of December, the American President Nixon himself asked Leonid Brezhnev, the top guy in Soviet Union, to ask India for a ceasefire and move troops away from East Pakistan. On the 12th of December, there was again another talk of ceasefire laid down by America and Pakistan. On the 15th of December, the USSR and Poland presented their demand to hand over power to East Pakistani representatives and hand over their territory, and asked Pakistan to move away their troops and call for a ceasefire. At that time, this crazy guy Bhutto was the Pakistani representative. After hearing this and reading what was written on the piece of paper, he ripped it apart and said that he'll fight. Not only he said that Pakistan will fight India for the next 1,000 years. Well, the next day, the Pakistani army had officially surrendered to the joint forces of the Indian army and to the Mukti Bahini. On that very evening, there was another demand for India to move troops away from East Pakistan and also to stop the fighting that was going on the Western Front. It was only this time that Mrs. Gandhi accepted the ceasefire, and the ceasefire was officially declared on the Western Front on the 17th of December. This is how I would say that we as Indians are grateful to the USSR for helping us at that time of taking revenge from Pakistan and showing Pakistan its true place in history. and also giving Bangladesh its true recognition in history. Thank you for listening, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this.